In this video, we're going to talk about Adobe Muse and the things that you can do with it. This is just a basic introduction into Muse. So let's get started. When you first launch Muse, you have this page right here. The only thing we're going to worry about right now is the file new. You can either do it here, Command N, File, New Site. Any of those ways will work. When you hit the new site, it comes up with this new site dialog box. Now, you want to make sure that your advanced settings is turned on so that you see the whole thing. For my purposes, I like the following settings. I keep fluid width. I set the max page width to 1,440 pixels. Columns, I'll usually set to 12 so that I have a nice grid. I leave the gutter at 20. Under advanced settings, the minimum, this is personal preference, but I prefer a minimum of 1200 and a minimum height of about 1000. That just keeps me in check. I'm going to leave everything else the same, not mess with any margins, padding, resolution, or sticky footer. I do want to leave this checked, and I'm going to click OK. So what happens is it opens up into what is called the plan view. And this is kind of like gridding out your site. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. I want to direct your attention up here to 4 items. We've got plan, design, preview, and publish. And this is actually done in the order that you would actually work on a site. So you would plan it first, you would design it, you would preview it, then you would publish it. Okay? So that's completely in line with the process. So let's look at the plan mode. Now, the plan mode is just in front of you. It's a grid. It's real easy to use. You've got master pages down here. I will go into more of that in a second. You can drag over an existing thumbnail and see how it drag page to rearrange. Ooh, that's nice. So let's come up with some things. There's a few ways to do this. I can click to insert a page, and I'm going to call this my services page. I'm going to click again, about me. I'm going to click again, contact. I can also hold Shift Command P to create a new page. And in this one, I'm going to put portfolio. Okay. Now, I really want portfolio over here. So I'm going to drag portfolio and just put it in between here, and boom, there it is. It's completely rearranged. About me, I want the first one. So I've got home, about me, services, portfolio, and contact. Now, under portfolio, I might have some pages that fall under that category. There's a plus button down here. You click on it, and you can type, let's do my Lady Death portfolio subcategory here. Let's do one for Tucson Comic-Con. Now, what this did by pushing on the bottom, it made this page a part of this one. I don't want that. I want to drag this one up and put out here so it's part of the portfolio page. So it depends on where you actually click on these buttons. This one will get rid of it. This one will add to this page. So it'd be a subcategory of Tucson Comic-Con. I could go down here and say, all right, banners, signage, publications. I can really get in depth. I can add another one here, Tucson Comic-Con, Lady Death. Let's see, what else have I done? Oh, Hero Initiative. I've done work for Desert Mountain High School. So I can keep adding these out through here, and these are subcategories of this site, and this is a subcategory of this page. And I can add more. So this is a great way to plan everything and rearrange your pages. Like, for example, I want publications above banners, but notice I drug it onto that. I really wanted publications to be in between those two. And apparently there's still a few little tweaks they've got to work on. So you can mess with this and just mess around and see what you can do. If you add it there, it's not going to drop. Maybe I can add it in front here. And then bring this down below. And then bring this one down below. So messing with it and getting it in the right order once you hit the drop downs is a little bit more difficult. But it's nothing anybody can't do. Now, master pages is really cool. And if we scroll over here, we can look, and these say a master on them. I can create multiple master pages, and again, here's the plus on each side. And the master page will allow me to just put specific items that remain the same on each page. Okay, we can go into more than that in a future video, but right now know that anything I put on this page will go to every single page that has the A master on it. So I'm going to double click on the A master, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the interface that we've got here. The rulers are done using pixels, so that's something to keep in mind. Some of the things that you need to know: window, reset panels will get you back to this standard situation here. This is the default. Now, of course, you can add more windows and all of this stuff here. So see, we've got align, assets, bullets, all of this stuff. So there's a lot that you can add to it. If you don't find it here, look under window, it will be here. Okay, so here are our design tools. Across the top, we have what's called the control panel. Now, the control panel will change depending on what tool I'm using, and I'll show you that in a minute. Over on the right here, we have various panels. Again, you can find additional panels up under window. Let's add the align panel. I click on it, it throws it over here. I now have my align panel to use as I need, and I can close it. Notice I can open and close each panel as I need it. This keeps it out of the way when I'm designing stuff. Okay. You can zoom in or out by hitting Command plus, Command minus. So Command plus zooms in, Command minus zooms out. There's also up under view, you can zoom in and out here as well. So keep that in mind. This is called a breakpoint bar, and if we look at it, it's set to 1440 with 1200 as our minimum. So our minimum page size is here to here. Go more into the breakout panel later in another video, or the breakout bar. All right, so if you don't see your guides here, see how I see my guides? Up under view is show guides. If they're hidden, it'll say show. If they're showing, it will say hide. You can also do it by command semicolon. You can also hide and show frame edges. Make sure they're shown. So just keep stuff shown. If you want the grid overlay, you can show it. I typically keep it off. I'll show you what it looks like. It gives you that kind of grid overlay. I'm not a real big fan of that. So I'll go under view and I'll hide the grid overlay. I just like it like this. Okay? All right, so let's talk about the tools. Some tools, this is a selection tool, allows you to select objects. This is a crop tool, type tool. You also have a vertical type tool. This allows you to, of course, type. You have a standard box. If you click on it, it has a drop down for the ellipse. This is a picture box, a rectangle frame, ellipse frame. Move tool. Now, if you hold down the space bar, you can also move it around, or you can select the move tool. We talked about how to zoom in and out. Zooming in, hold the option key down, you can zoom out, or command plus, command minus. Okay? And then the anchor tool, which is something we'll talk about at a later time. Anchor tools sometimes can help, sometimes, you never want to use them. Okay, format text across breakpoints, and then underneath that is format text on current breakpoint. Up here we have fill, stroke, stroke width. This enables radiuses. We'll talk about that at a different time. Corner radiuses. You got effects, opacity or transparency, browser fill. So you can fill it with something other than white. And now watch. If I place a text, my control panel changes to a text box or text box information. Okay, my pointer tool, I can click on the text box, click off of it, see the difference. Click on, it gives me all of these other options. Okay, if I draw a square, it gives me various options as well. So just know that when you change something, it'll give you different options depending on what tool you're using. All right, so our next thing is our guides. We have a top of the page guide. Now you can adjust and add some padding above the page itself. This is our header guide, and I like to drag it to about 100 pixels. That gives me plenty of room for my header, my menu, things like that. Down here we have our footer guide, and that's a pretty good size. 50 pixels is a pretty decent size. Then we've got a couple of guides down here, bottom of page and bottom of browser. Well, if you want your page to not reach the bottom of the browser, you have to separate those two. And of course, I can scroll it and make it bigger and smaller and everything like that. So if I want a little space at the bottom where nothing can go, I want to put that bottom of the browser. Okay, that goes over all of the basic features of Muse. One of the main things that you want to do, remember we're in design view, we can easily switch back to plan view and we can rearrange our pages. Later on we'll talk about widgets, and there's one widget in particular that will generate your menus for you so you don't have to do it. Really cool.